Hi, Deanna here. Thanks so much for being here. Today's video is a book review, and the book I'm reviewing is The Dark Vault. So this book is actually two books that have been combined into one. So this is the author Victoria Schwab's two books, The Archived and The Unbound, that have been amalgamated into this book, The Dark Vault. Now, The Dark Vault follows MacKenzie Bishop, who is a keeper. And what that means is that in this book, there's essentially what's called the archives. The archives is where the dead rest, essentially. It's when they have passed away, they become what are called histories, and they are kept in the archives. But sometimes the histories wake up and they are lost and confused, and some of them may be angry, and it's a keeper's job to find them and bring them back safely to the archive. And so that is what MacKenzie's job is. She is a teenager that has the ability to find them and bring them back. She also has some other abilities as well to really help her with her ability to track down and find the dead to return them to the archive. And she got this role essentially from her grandfather, who was the one that mentored her and brought her into this world. But unfortunately, MacKenzie is dealing with the loss of her little brother as well as the loss of her grandfather, who she calls Da. The other thing about this is that MacKenzie is not able to share this with anyone other than those who know about the archive. And this is a part that really eats at MacKenzie a lot, because she's not able to tell her parents really what's going on, and she's dealing with so much, as any protagonist is when we find them in a book. She's got a whole arc that she needs to go through of her own ability to master what she's doing and come to terms with her life and her job, essentially. So that is where we find MacKenzie. MacKenzie meets a friend, Wesley, too, who really helps her as well. And I absolutely love Wesley. He's amazing. He's one of my favorite characters that we meet. And then she also has Roland as well, who he is known as a librarian, and he helps her a lot as a mentor. So that's really great that he's able to help her and that she has that support. I find that the archive for me is like a 10 out of 10. I absolutely loved the archive. It would be 5-star if that's what I had to give it, because it was exciting. It was like fast paced. It really drew me into like who MacKenzie is. It made me care about her. It made me care about what's going on. Like, I absolutely loved The Archived. And I loved the world building that Victoria Schwab did. I loved like what was going on, the problems that she encountered. Like, everything was just so exciting and so intriguing, and I just couldn't put it down. Like, I absolutely flew through The Archive, which was the first half of this book, The Dark Vault. So I absolutely loved, like, cannot, like, it was awesome. It was just really great. I cannot express enough how awesome it was. It was great. The Unbound, on the other hand, while I didn't hate The Unbound at all, I want to, like, it's not that I didn't like it. I still enjoyed it. I still enjoyed The Unbound. Truth be told, for The Unbound, it was more I almost didn't like MacKenzie. Like, in the first one, she was like such like a kick butt girl. She was like so like fierce and like, I don't know, that she was a really compelling character. I really liked her. I really found her interesting. I just wanted to know more about her. And then when it came to the second book, which is The Unbound, I just feel like I just didn't like MacKenzie as much. I felt like I kept like getting rage at my book. Like, I'm just, MacKenzie, why are you doing this? And MacKenzie, like, what are you doing? What is going on? Like, how can you not figure this out, MacKenzie? Like, the first book, The Archived, had such a twist in it that I did not see it coming. And I was just like, wow, like that's awesome. Like it was just so cool. It was such a good build up to what happened. Whereas The Unbound, unfortunately, it was like I already kind of knew what was going to happen. It was kind of predictable a bit in comparison to the first one. And I almost wonder if there was just too many characters, because she introduced a whole lot of new characters in the second half and the second book, the Unbound. And it was like not as much of a mystery. It was kind of like, well, duh, like, come on, MacKenzie. And I just felt like MacKenzie was like so wrapped up in like herself and her self-doubt and a lot of that I just didn't have a lot of like sympathy for her almost, or something. I don't know. I just found myself not enjoying it as much as I enjoyed the first one. I still enjoyed it. I still got through it and like enjoyed the writing that was happening. The writing style was really good and it was like really engaging and kept me wanting to know like, okay, what is going to happen? But I almost didn't like MacKenzie as a character as much in the second book, and that's unfortunate to say because sometimes your character is really the driving part of your book and is really what keeps people engaged. So she just kind of just wasn't as good. It was almost similar to like how Harry Potter was in the fifth book, for anyone that's watched Harry Potter. When Harry was in the fifth book, he was very like antsy and like, oh, I'm a teenager and I'm really like upset and nobody gets me and like this and that. It's almost kind of how MacKenzie was coming off in The Unbound compared to the first one. The first one, she had some of that and she had like the grief and things like that she was going through, but I just didn't find her as annoying almost. So I'm sorry, Victoria Schwab. I'm sorry to anyone who loved The Unbound. I'm so sorry to anyone who loves MacKenzie and maybe they're yelling at the screen saying, what are you talking about? I just was like, I think maybe I knew too much of what was going to happen. And so it was almost like when you see what's happening and then the character completely goes over here and is doing something totally like, just, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? So in some ways, if you love yelling at the characters while you're reading, that was a great book for that, because I definitely yelled at her going, what are you doing, MacKenzie? Get your head back in the game and get this figured out. Other than that, I do really still enjoy this. This is still going to sit predominantly on my bookshelf in my YA section as one of my favorites, because overall, I really, really love the story. I really, really love the world building that happened. I feel like, in a way, I think almost that's also why I didn't like the second as much. The first book, we were seeing so many new things about this world. Like, so much was like exciting and what's happening. Whereas in the second book, it was almost like we were rehashing everything again. And I wanted to see more. I wanted more of the world. I wanted more of like what is happening, kind of what can she do or what can these others do. I wanted a little bit more going on in the second book. So it did kind of leave me feeling not quite as satisfied as the first, but again, overall, I think the whole book together, like, I would give it a 4 out of 5. The second book, I would give probably a 3 out of 5. The first book, I would give a 5 out of 5. So together, it evens out to a 4 out of 5 for me. So definitely is going to be on my shelf as one of my favorites. Victoria Schwab is now one of my new favorite authors that I love reading her books. I'm currently reading another Victoria Schwab book that I will review in the future, and can't wait to get my hands on more of her books because she is a really good storyteller and I really enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed this review of The Dark Vault, and if you can get your hands on a copy, I definitely recommend both the Archived and the Unbound, because it is good, though you can just finish the Archived and even that in itself was still just a great book. So definitely one of my new faves, is at least what I can say for that. And I'm glad to have read it, and I probably maybe at some point will pick it up and read it again, though it's a big one. It's a big heifer, but I'd at least probably read The Archived again. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, go ahead and give me a like. Let me know, have you read The Archived? Have you read The Unbound? Did you read it together as The Dark Vault like me? What did you think about MacKenzie and Wesley? And what do you think of the books and how the story went? Did you like one over the other? Did you like them both the same? Let me know down below. I'd love to hear it. Thanks again for watching. Wherever you are, whatever time, day, night, evening it is, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much. Take care, and you will see me next time.